9.1% increase in the United States of America consumer prices in the previous 12 months, which are the highest in 4 decades, has prompted many sobering headlines to think and wonder about the causes of the inflation. Meanwhile, annual inflation in Germany and the United Kingdom countries ran nearly 7.5% and 8.2% respectively. Also, it reached in Spain 10%. So, the inflation topic is what we're going to discuss today, but before that, subscribe the channel and like the video. People started blaming the door on USA and its policies, but economists doubt it because inflation is spiking everywhere, with rates averaged 9.65% in the 38 largely wealthy countries that belong to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development through May 2022. But what causes the inflation? A professor of economics at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, called Christopher Decker, researched and found that there are some essential factors. First, scarcity put pressure on prices everywhere. When the COVID-19 pandemic began, demand for computers and other high-tech goods soared, as many people switched from working in offices to clocking in at home. Also, computer chip manufacturers struggled to keep up, leading to chip shortages and higher prices for a dizzying array of devices and machines requiring them, including refrigerators, cars, and smartphones. Actually, it's not just chips. Many of goods Americans consume, such as cars, televisions, and prescription drugs, are imported from all corners of the world. Second, supply chain strains. On top of problems tied to supply and demand changes, there have been major disruptions to how goods move to manufacturers and then on to consumers along, in process known as the supply chain. Also, freight disruption, whether by ship, train, or truck, has interfered with the delivery of all sorts of goods since 2020. And that's caused the cost of shipping goods to rise sharply. These massive shipping disruptions have exposed the disadvantages of the popular just-in-time practice for managing inventory, and by keeping as little of the materials needed to make their products on hand, companies become more vulnerable to shortages and transportation snafus. And when manufacturers are unable to make their products quickly, shortages occur and prices surge. This approach has left businesses much more susceptible to market shocks, especially when it involves the reliance on far-flung suppliers. Third, Russia's war on Ukraine, which began officially on February 24, 2022, has also exacerbated inflation by interfering with the global supply of fuels and grains. The conflict's effects are reverberating around the globe and fueling inflation. Russia is the world's second-largest exporter of crude oil. Sanctions against Russian imports, combined with Russia halting oil shipments to European countries, has led to disruptions in the global oil market too. And as Europe buys more oil from the Middle East, demand for oil from that region increases, prompting price increases. Crude prices jumped from $101 per barrel in late February 2022 to $123 a month later, and prices stayed high for several months. But by late July, we're around $100 a barrel again. Food prices have increased substantially in the U.S. and elsewhere, partly due to this conflict. Also, Ukraine possesses some of the most fertile soil in the world and is the third largest exporter of corn. However, Russia's destruction of Ukrainian crops and its blockade of Ukrainian exports have led to significant price increases worldwide for agricultural commodities. But here is a question. How will the world respond? Support for globalization and international trade has waned in recent years. Given supply chain disruptions and the war in Ukraine fueling inflation, this trend will likely continue. However, in my opinion, I believe that the benefits of free and open trade still outweigh current challenges. So, that what has made an ignorance inside people and get along with this increase.